Sons of the Forest is the latest survival horror created by Endnight Games. Maybe you've heard of their last game, The Forest? This game is a lot like that, with some minor changes to gameplay and locale. I got to play a lot of the game with a friend of mine. If you want to check out some of that, click on the card up there. But first, allow me the honors of letting you know what's in store if you played the game for yourself, and how I would rate this game. Overall, the story was pretty vague. You start out as a mercenary of sorts, sent on a search and rescue mission for a family of billionaires who have been missing for quite a while. The mission takes you to a remote island, but upon arrival, an accident causes a crash landing. Everyone on the team perishes, except for you and Kelvin. Armed with only a tactical knife, a book about survival, and a lighter, it's time to figure out how to survive and hopefully accomplish your mission. Oh, no, 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 no. There are cannibals on the island, and the ability to chop body parts off of said cannibals that I could cook and eat if I wanted. The game can be quite graphic and bloody, and there will be a lot of jaunting through caves where it is very dark and very scary. More than cannibals lurk in the darkness of Sons of the Forest. And those other things are terrifying. Make absolutely sure the kids are tucked in and safe before loading up some Sons of the Forest. First off, base building. One of the more crucial parts of surviving. Using the survival handbook, I could see all manner of construction options. From there, I could place a blueprint of what I wanted and fill that blueprint with the pieces it needed. Usually a mix of sticks, logs, and stones. But shelter wasn't the only thing I needed to build, though. Along with a cabin, I could construct birdhouses to collect feathers, or gardens to plant the seeds of helpful plants, flora found around the island. And the other survivor from the crash, Kelvin, well, he bonked his head pretty hard and isn't all there, but he can complete simple tasks, like collecting logs or sticks, even finishing up a blueprint I placed. There was even a free building option as well. That was necessary for makeshift tent or a fire on the go. I could also build my own idea of a base, if I was any good at free building. I had kind of a hard time grasping the machinations of it all. The most I came up with was a ramp, as seen here. See that? My beautiful ramp. It gets the job done, but it didn't quite fit my imagination. Another important part for survival was the amazing catch-all pack that I carried. With the ability to carry an absurd number of things, I threw everything I could find in there. Sadly, it does have a limit on how much of a single item it could carry, like 4 batteries or 6 bottles of vodka. Inside the pack menu is where the magic of crafting occurs. After finding certain items, new crafting options would be available. Nearly everything I could pick up had a crafting purpose. Not to say it didn't work by itself, but it could become part of something greater. I could craft any number of things, from smashing together plants to make heals, or taping some sticks together, making a spear to defend myself with. Crafting certainly took up a lot of my time. Finally, food and water. An absolute staple in survival games everywhere. Managing those damn meters so I don't die from dehydration or starvation. Food comes from a lot of different materials. Thankfully, some can stay in my pack forever, like MREs, while things like fish and meat can eventually go bad. The meat is obtained from the wildlife around the forest. After getting some, I had to toss it onto a fire to cook it. Otherwise, it wouldn't fill me up as much, and be pretty gross. Now, I'm not sure if it's an early access bug or part of the game, but a neat thing I could do with rotten meat was throw it on a fire, and it would eventually become cooked meat again. Good and ready to eat. So, meat never really goes bad. It just has to be handled more. Food was pretty easy to keep on hand, but water was a little trickier. There are lots of creeks, rivers, and lakes around to take a quick sip from, and some berries would fill up my thirst meter just a little bit. But in caves, I had to find and carry soda cans usually. If it was a particularly long jaunt through a cave, finding drinkable liquid could be a problem. That's the basics of survival, but there wasn't a lot of time to figure all that out. While exploring the island, there were small camps with enemies inside. And they also traveled everywhere, so there was no saying when they would show up. In the beginning, they would keep their distance. More scared of me than I was of them. Maybe. But there is a day and night cycle, and as the days move on, they get more and more tired of my being there, and start to attack. Now, I could run away, but that wasn't always an option though. Eventually, they would come to my home and attack me, so I definitely had to be ready to fight. Thankfully, Sons of the Forest offers an easy-to-use multiplayer option, so I could bring my friend along to help fight and explore. If things got really bad, and one of us lost all of our health, the other could actually pick him up, giving them a chance to get back into the fight. But if we both went down, we usually woke up in a nearby camp, having to escape and fight our way out. The island I played on was truly gorgeous. Very reminiscent of walking around in an actual forest. Some places the wind would pick up and start whipping trees back and forth. The audio was spot on with reality. It was somewhat soothing walking down a path in the early afternoon with the sun coming through the trees and the birds singing their happy little songs. It was so nice, I could almost forget about the fact that I was stuck on an island surrounded by any number of things trying to end my life. There was also rain and snow sometimes. The rain was cool, but way too loud. And the snow covered up a lot of stuff, hiding valuable resources underneath. In order to move the game forward, I had to explore the island, finding items that would help me survive or get through specific areas, usually deep within the caves found on the island. Thankfully, there was a GPS available from the start, with points of interest for me to check out. It was nice knowing where the cave entrances were with the GPS. In the first game, I had to manually mark them after finding them, so that cut down on a lot of pointless traveling I had to do. But it did create kind of an issue traveling in a straight line from marker to marker. I missed some important gear right from the start, so it helps to travel in a wide zigzag pattern. I had a lot of fun playing Sons of the Forest with a friend. I don't think I would have enjoyed myself nearly that much had I been alone. Exploring new caves and sections of the island with a friend made it a lot less stressful. Still scary, but I wasn't alone, and that does a lot for the mind. I don't like a lot of survival games, but there are a few out there like this one, with a story and an ending. I'm not a fan of a never-ending fight for survival. And now, the ranking! Visually, this game was beautiful. Now, it's still in early access, and some things could be improved on, like fish clipping through rocks. So, I'm gonna go with a 4. The story was elusive, and didn't feel pertinent to the game. I'm giving it a 2. Gameplay was really good, but the free build could use some fine-tuning, and sometimes I would throw a spear at an enemy, and it would just disappear. That's a 3. Replayability? Well, I guess if I was going to play it again, it would have to be with a bunch of friends who haven't played before. After going through once, knowing where everything is, the magic is kind of dead for me. So that's a 2. How much fun did I have? A lot. There were a couple of times where I was lost and didn't know what to do next, but that was due to the fact that I missed some things walking by just a little bit to the left, so I didn't even see it. So I'm going to go with a 4 there. All in all, that gives this game a 3 out of 5, earning its place right there on the mid shelf. It's a fun game worth trying out. And keep an eye out for later updates. The game is only going to get better. Now that we're done with that, it's time to move on to the next one. I will see you there. Bye!